Hey everyone, it's probably, about 6 a.m. out here in Vegas, and I'm just leaving the gym. Anyways, I wanted to share with you my thoughts, and they are totally the opposite of what we continue to be taught, what we continue to be told. It's like this treadmill of the message, the same old message, the same old thing, and it's the big why. How come you're not productive? You don't have a big why. Let's do your business plan. What's your big why? I mean, it's just so overused. And guess what? I know that there's people that make a lot more money than me, that have had more books sold than me, and get in front of more people than me. And that doesn't mean I have to agree with them. And number two, I don't disagree with people just to be polarizing. I operate from my own truth, instead of going with the crowd. But let me share with you some things that might shift you, because when I inspect organizations, when I inspect top salespeople, when I inspect top leaders, one of the things that they always bring up is my why. What is my why? And I need to think about my why. Well, let's break it down, okay? First of all, what I want you to understand is it's so tired. I mean, get original, please. Number two, let's go into human behavior. See, the mistake that we make is we go into this big business plan. You've got to have this big vision. Well, interesting. We're totally working against human behavior, because the number one thing that's keeping people from productivity is overwhelm. So let me see. Let me pack some big, huge vision. Let me pack some big, huge why on top of people. And guess what you're doing? You're paralyzing people. Or you're being paralyzed by buying into the big why. Let's have a webinar about the big why. Let's talk about your big why. I mean, please, I'll debate it with anyone. And so that's number one. Number two, let's study human behavior. The unconscious brain acts. The unconscious mind takes action. The conscious mind thinks. Okay? So let's go into the word why. Let's go back into the tape recordings in our life. Why is a word of judgment. Why doesn't expand our vision, expands our thoughts. It causes us to retreat. It causes us to defend. Think about it. Why? Why is not an inspiring word. So think about how your brain works. And if you're a leader, think about the people that you're leading, how their brain works. So number one, it's tired and old. Get original. That's number one. Number two, overwhelm is the number one thing that's getting in the way of productivity. Number three, why is a word that runs in the unconscious mind as judgment. Okay? So I made my stand there, so let me give you some solutions. What? See, people are looking at business plans. People are looking at big goals, and they're throwing these numbers out there. They're creating this picture out there that, many times is not realistic. I mean, I think people need to stretch. I mean, I'm constantly stretching. But, what you need to do is look at what. That's the first thing. I want you to move to what. And the second thing, one thing. One thing. What? One thing and experience. And let me tell you what experiences are. They're not here. And this is what's getting in the way. It's right here. Put your hand on that thing, on your chest. Feel that thing beating. Okay? That's what tells you yes or no. You think your mind does? No. The heart responds, okay, and releases hormones. It's physiological, okay, that tells the brain what to do. So what is one thing you haven't experienced in your life that some micro commitment, some element of change is going to do for you? And let me give you an example. Okay, what's my theme? And that's the piece I want you to think about, is theme. Because with theme, you're going to move into the ease of flow. I'm not attached to the outcome. And you can speak to the people in my business, and maybe I shouldn't share this, but I will. I'm pretty transparent. I don't pay much attention to the numbers. I really don't put a lot of time in it. And yet I watch leaders grind the living daylights out of people over numbers. And you know what's interesting? How many of your people are inspired by numbers? How much resistance do you get to numbers? What if you're leading people? What if in your own self-reflection, you connected with what makes their heart move? What's one thing in your personal life that you have not yet experienced that a change, that a different choice would provide for you? Just one thing. That's it. instead of what's your big why, what's your big vision. Because here's what I know about business plans too. We go through this big, huge exercise, okay, and write down this business plan, this scientific project, and then it goes in the desk and it's never looked at again. What if you made simple micro commitments? And here's my example today. Gym sucks. I don't like the gym. People think I love the gym. I'm a gym rat. Yeah, I'm a gym rat. But guess what I had to do today? I had to make a micro commitment, okay? And the micro commitment was this: just get to this damn parking lot. Just get to the damn parking lot. And you know what? Getting to the parking lot, okay, makes it more likely that I'm going to work out. And then I had to think about getting through the whole exercise, because I had a big workout plan, and then I catch myself saying, okay, I'm in overwhelm and I'm going on an empty stomach, and that's just my own desire and purpose in doing it. And so I have to just go one little step at a time. What's my theme? My theme is change. That's it. And it's facilitating change. And facilitating change for other people, because that feels good to me. Because one of the things that I learned too is that a great challenge we have is loving ourselves. And sometimes when we have challenges with it, the first thing that I was taught is, you don't love yourself. You don't have great self-worth. So you know what? Go out and love on someone else. Go out and help someone else. And I'm like, what? You're crazy. And what happens unconsciously there? So you study the brain. We're so into, gosh, I'm going to act. Well, yeah, that's the conscious mind telling you that, but what's the tape recordings that are running in our head? What are our beliefs that continue to create the actions that aren't serving us, okay? And so I was taught, something? If you go out and help people, if you go out and serve people, if you facilitate change for people, I can't make anyone change, but if you go out with that intention, what's going to happen is unconsciously you're going to start to feel love for yourself. So you start to feel what you give to others. You start to feel what you give to others. So anyways, that big old why, if you're killing it with your big old why, right on. Few do. Because the other part is very few know what makes them happy, okay? So, because it's overwhelmed. Just think in simple terms. What's one thing I haven't experienced in my personal life, okay, that greater production will give me, that one choice, one change, eliminating one person out of my life. And I'm not talking about, you hear me say that a lot, you need to have boundaries. And we talk about boundaries and attachments, which are truly the big obstructions to people taking steps of growth and expanding. Because what they do is they take up silos in our life. They take up space in our life that don't allow other things to show up, other things that are productive, other things that are going to serve us. The negative person, okay, doesn't serve you. Now, listen, do I work with people? I'm in business because people are challenged. That's not the negative person, okay? That's the person that is transparent, that is humble, that is vulnerable, and says, I've got this issue. I've got this challenge. I want to change, and I own it, and I'm willing to take the steps. See, that's a creator. I'm talking about the victim. The victim is not going to serve your growth, okay? And by the way, the highest form of love you can show that person is accountability, okay? Staying in principle. So anyways, the big old why, hey, if it's working for you, great. And, if you keep hearing that big old why and you want something different, what's one thing I haven't experienced in my personal life that greater production is going to provide for me? Now, leaders, here's what I want you to do, leaders. What I want you to do for a month is, first of all, go down your roster. If you've got a team, if you've got a big office, you've got a company, can you tell me the one thing, the reason that people show up every day? If it's to make money, well, that's the problem with your production. You haven't connected with the heart of your humans. You've got to connect the heart with the head. We're leading with logic. But again, going with human behavior, let's see. We choose with the heart. We justify with logic. Now look at your marketing. Now look at the way that you lead. I'm kind of passionate about it because it's the truth. People have to hide behind numbers. That's what they do. And then you want to grind people. Listen, is accountability important? It's accountability like this. First of all, allowing people to create their own picture of where they're going. The moment that you tell someone a number, okay, it's history. You've already set them up for failure. You set them up for failure because there's a thing called ownership, okay? See, so how do you craft it as a leader? How do people that I work with get exponential growth? Not by bajillions of leads. The leads will show up. The conversions will show up. Is because there's a connection to something in their heart. When they sit down with them, they don't beat the daylights out of them. You didn't hit this number. You didn't this. You didn't that. You didn't that. No, what they say is, listen, let's revisit what's really important to you in your personal life. Okay? And let's revisit the commitment that you made to your family. That's leadership. Okay? Serving human beings. Let's talk about the commitment that you made to yourself, okay, to provide more freedom, to provide rhythm in your life. Not balance, I'm talking about rhythm, okay? So the action steps that you took last week, how did they or did they not contribute to what's going to fill your heart, that one thing? That's how you coach people. That's how you move people. You didn't hit this number, you're bad. And so guess what they do? They move into defense, okay? Move to people's hearts and come to understand this. The heart is a hormone producing machine. The heart has 40,000 neurons that sends messages to the brain. The heart has number one objective, to keep it into rhythm. It's why when we get nervous and our heart starts beating really, really fast, we stumble with our words. Or we freeze. You know why? Because the heart's keeping those hormones to itself to allow it to find its rhythm. Okay? Hey, listen, you can talk your scripts, you can talk your dialogues, you can talk your emails, you can talk you can talk all your crap, but it doesn't mean jack until you know how a human being functions. That's how people grow, and that's how you will grow. So leaders, I want you to go down your roster. I want you to go back to all your people and say, what's the one thing you haven't experienced in your personal life? Okay? The greater production will provide for you. That one choice will provide for you. That one boundary will provide for you. And here's what I want you to do then. Then what I want you to do is I want you to attach to the process and detach from the outcome. It's the simple sauce. And it works. And it keeps working. Peace. And get to the gym. Get to the gym.